Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we take a look at the four pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I'm Joe, an anime sicko.
We have two patrons, and then we're going to talk about fucking Police Squad, the show that's funny.
Top line review of Police Squad is, this shit's got jokes.
It's the show that's funny. Our first new patron has given us euros, so this is going to absolutely, like, balloon in relative value.
We need these. Does this Euro person have friends that also have euros?
Perhaps. They didn't mention it. If the answer was yes, what would your next move be?
Give us those. I don't know if you saw the news about the dollar. We need to start making... we need a basket of currencies.
We do. One thing that rules about living in the Imperial Core is that you become used to the luxuries. And you become a soft man who needs them. Anyway, this Euro giver is Vesper13. Thank you.
Thank you, Vesper.
That's James Bond's friend. I guess that's that's putting it, I guess, lightly. James Bond's friend. If you know James Bond, he's
got
rich.
Euros.
Wait,
he's euros in every tux, man.
He's British. He's Brexited. He's in the same fucking boat as us. Well, never mind. We're doomed then. I thought we had our way out with James Bond.
Yeah, James Bond can't leave the UK now because of Brexit. That's how it happened. No more adventures.
Nigel Farage is like, no more. Like, you can't go stop Blofeld's doomsday device Bond. You have to make sure that the fucking immigrants don't come in.
And you can't bang a babe either.
Yeah, because of woke. Our other patron is Ian S. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Ian. We appreciate your delicious donation.
That's just normal U.S. dollars, so that's going to be absolutely worthless come a month from now.
Those are bottle caps.
Yeah, bottle caps is fun. I like how the Red Star Sarsaparilla bottle caps is special, and then a strange man walks up to you and asks you about him. That's the funniest part of any Fallout game, is when a strange man shows up inexplicably.
If you don't take the strange... what's the perk that's like weird guy follows you and sometimes blows away?
I'm pretty sure it's Mysterious Stranger.
It's really funny when you're fighting like a crab and he shows up. It's like, finally, chance to blow away a crab.
Mysterious Stranger, yep. It's so funny because you can see from a sort of gameplay perspective why it is fun in an RPG to have a bonus that's like every once in a while, totally random at a very low percentage, you'll just do insane fucking damage and go nutty on a just out of the blue moonshot move. And yes, from a mechanical perspective, yeah, it's a great perk. A lot of people are going to want to take that because it's free. You don't need to worry about anything. Every once in a while, you're just like, oh shit, I win, I guess. But it takes a real big brain to have that manifest as a guy shows up. There's just a second dude who's like, hello, blammo.
Doesn't it make like the Proto Man sound or something? There's like the mysterious guy's here sound.
Oh, maybe. Been too long.
It's probably a harmonica. If it's not, it should be.
Anyway, we're here to talk about the show that's funny, Police Squad. Here's the thing about Police Squad. You might have known about these movies called The Naked Gun, starring Leslie Nielsen, where he plays a goofy cop and a bunch of silly stuff happens. These movies were very successful. I loved them as a child, and I thought that they were just movies. I thought they were invented for movies. No,
there's like Fate Zero for this. So Police Squad is actually something I've told Tom to watch for a while. I was like, you should really watch it. And you're like, I don't know. I've seen the Naked Gun movies. And that's fair. But even though the Naked Gun movies came after this, which on paper means that they're just more informed as far as, like, they're funnier. You've made more stuff. You know how to make stuff better. Like, you have a sort of sense. You know how to hang jokes on everything. The thing is, Police Squad was the first thing, and it was fucking perfect. It was only 6 episodes. These are just heaters. There's 6 heaters. It doesn't stop. It is at 30 Rock pace. And I mean that sincerely because, like, I think the thing that makes it feel contemporary is not so much the references, because it's not, although you get them. At least we do, because kind of.
I mean, there hardly are any references. It's all puns and visual gags, which we'll get to. But like that, in that way, it is very timeless. There are very few references to contemporary culture in Police Squad.
Just in the first episode, I will provide a counterexample, which is when they are trying to alleviate the sadness of the widow, and they're trying to come up, what are we going to tell the kids? You know, how their dad is gone. Mm-hmm. And the suggestion is tell them he was traded to the Cubs for Reggie Jackson.
Well, okay, yes. I guess that's technically a reference. But they also say, and they continue offering options for what to tell the kids, even after the conversation has moved on. One of the options is tell him a big monster took him to daddy heaven, which I was just saying to myself. Anyway, no, Police Squad. This is a TV show. This was where The Naked Gun came from. The Naked Gun was basically just a movie-length episode of Police Squad. And Joe mentioned it's only 6 episodes, which makes you think, was this on the BBC? No, this was an American show. The issue was, we live in like a hell world.
They didn't tell anyone about it, right?
Well, I wasn't there to see the marketing campaign, but what I did see in my brief research was apparently a big reason why it didn't catch on was it's too good at the joke, which is to say, people turned it on, saw like 5 seconds of it, said, this is just a normal police procedural. I've seen so many of those. I'm going to watch something more original. And it sucks because the way the joke works is that everyone plays it so normal. Everything is structured exactly like a normal police procedural. Leslie Nielsen, I mean, if you've seen any of his spoof movies, you know that his deal is that he plays it like a pro veteran character actor who's just doing a genre like cop role. He's not making it silly. He's not doing a funny face. He's
never told a joke.
100%, yes, on the level. Ah, God. The thing that truly kills me is that apparently it was canceled after only 4 of the episodes had aired. They eventually all did. But just like imagine having seen the first 4 episodes of Police Squad and be like, we don't need any more of this. It's unthinkable and a real crime.
How many more are there? 2 canon. I think it came out in the right order, at least. Like unlike the Clerks cartoon, which I think only had 6 episodes, came out in the wrong order, which hurt reception. This, because it's a genre spoof, it doesn't really matter what order you watch these episodes in. Although I feel like watching them in order lets you enjoy the iteration and escalation of all these like continuous running gags. It's just wonderful stuff.
So this is a great point, and I think so. The key thing was, as Joe said, I had hesitated in watching Police Squad. And you might think, like, your listeners be like, Tom is this cruel denier who's constantly saying no to the show Joe's watched. You only know that because I'm the only one who ever eventually watches the shows and allows episodes to be made. The number of times this happens in reverse and Joe never watches the show is more numerous than the grains of sand on the beach.
This speaks to the quality of Severance. Continue, Tom.
So I hesitated because I'm like, I saw the Naked Gun movies. I thought they were really funny. It's just going to be more of that. Like, it's going to be the same. And, like, it's going to be good, but, like, I know what I'm going to get. I was wrong. As good as the Naked Gun movies are, and they're very funny, and they were rightly hits. Police Squad, it should be a 22-minute show. Because, one, there are two main reasons. One, this kind of humor is so relentless that it can be exhausting, and if you just get a 22-minute bit of it, it does not get exhausting. It's much easier to handle in these small doses. 2, because it is a series, as Joe said, there can be running gags that just every single episode we get the same joke again, but the punchline's different. And you might think, oh, is that lazy? No, bitch, laziness does not exist. Haven't you read Devin Price's hit book? Also, the proof is in the fucking pudding. It's not lazy if it works, and boy does it ever. And also, if you've done any comedy in your life, even a little bit of amateur comedy writing, you know that this type of thing is irresistible. If you have a truly delicious runner that could take endless alternates, like that's what, like, imagine going into work and it's just like, all right, today we're gonna think up ways that we can riff on the freeze frame end gag. Like, would that not be the best day of your life?
I would do very well at such a job. My performance review would be insane. I would exceed expectations every time.
Yes. Folks, you have not seen the behind the scenes sort of sicko writing process. You've seen the results. But that is Joe's sort of like signature move. Like when he hits his ultimate, it's like come up with variations on a theme. He would absolutely blow the roof off. So let's talk about some of these runners. Obviously, I mentioned the freeze frame end card gag. Obviously, in these old shows, they would catch the perp, they'd be back in the station, and they'd say a pithy one-liner.
Let's see how much you like doing that at Statesville Prison.
Ha ha ha, and then they would freeze frame, and then the credits would roll over that freeze frame. Well, the nut of the gag is that it is not actually a freeze frame. They have just stood still and are standing still for like a full minute while the credits roll. And there's always some sort of twist, like, and someone's not.
Someone is not frozen. Usually it's like the perp, and he's like, oh, I can just leave? Okay, and then it's just him like pantomiming around all these frozen people. At one point, there's a chimp in a suit that's just wrecking a desk.
The best one, I think, is from the last episode, where their partner Nordberg, who was later recast as O.J. Simpson for the movies, another reason this show is better than the movies, is nailing something to a pillar, and it freeze frames right after he hits the nail. And so everyone is standing perfectly still, but the pillar that he just nailed into falls over, and as a result, it destabilizes the entire police building, and the set starts fucking falling apart behind them, and huge, like, construction material stuff is falling from the ceiling, and everything's rumbling and falling down, and there's dust getting everywhere, and they're just standing perfectly still the whole time with the same look on their face from the beginning. It's great.
It's great. To speak of the density and quality of runners, I think this is a nice little example. The intro sequence has two runners.
Yes.
One runner is always the same. It does not iterate. And the other runner iterates every time, and oh boy. So the first one is that, you know how in TV shows they tell you, like, the big name cast people, it'll be like so-and-so, and it shows them.
Yeah, Leslie Nielsen as Frank Drebin.
Yeah, so the thing that's in every intro is, and Rex Hamilton as Abraham Lincoln. And it's just Abraham Lincoln, like, getting shot, and then he returns fire after getting shot, like he's immediately, like, shooting back. And that happens every time. That obviously, Rex Hamilton isn't in the show, dude. That fucking sequence is just there every time because they love it. And then the other runner that iterates is these shows have celebrity appearances, right?
Yeah, guest stars.
So the fucking gag in every intro is that they introduce the celebrity guest star in the opening credits, and then they also die in that same sequence.
Yeah.
My favorite one is just like with special guest Robert Goulet, and he's tied to a post and he's being offered a blindfold because he's about to be executed. He shakes his head no, and then he is killed.
My favorite is William Shatner. He's at a restaurant and he's just like talking to the person he's with, and there's a bunch of gunshots, and he's like survives and like takes out a gun and fires back, and presumably kills his attacker, and it's like, whew, that was close. And then he takes a sip of his drink, but it's poison, and then he falls over dead. And of course, being Shatner, he really hams up the, my throat, no, death scene. It's so fucking, because like, It's really them. They really did get these celebrity guest stars to be in Police Squad. It's
Robert
just that
Goulet really says, I don't want the blindfold. I want to see
Yes.
myself die.
I want to look death right in the face and let him know I'm not afraid. To me, death and life are the same. Oh my god, another great runner, and we've talked about this. And the reason is because it's so fucking good, is the Shoe Shine Boy. So every one of these episodes has an actual plot, which is the same as any cop show. You know, they're solving the case. Who did
the murder? Who is doing fraud? That sort of thing.
They write it completely standard, again, because that's what makes it funny. You don't let on that this is a goof at all, except for the fact that there's a joke every 15 seconds. And whenever they hit a part of their investigation where they can't move forward, they go see Johnny the Shoe Shine Boy, who looks to be 100 years old.
The oldest boy.
He always is like, Johnny, do you know anything about How should I know? Like, why would I know? I don't know. Why? How should I know? They give him a crumpled wad of bills.
Looking left to right, always.
Always fucking funny. He knows everything. Like, it's so simple, but every single time, holy shit.
And then they juice the concept without like having it overstay its welcome every time, because when Frank leaves the Shoe Shine station, another person stops by and you see the start of like them asking the guy for help, and it's like a surgeon asking how to do a quadruple bypass. It's Dick Clark asking, what's ska? The kids are really into ska. That fucking sequence, I hope when I die and you see everything, like we spend a lot of time on that part, because I fucking love it.
It'll never be truly popular, because although they've made the backbeat more accessible, it's still too exotic for general audiences.
This was set in '82, I think, right? Just wonderful.
Yeah. It seems like such a simple joke that, like, what if the Shoe Shine Boy's tips were just hyper encyclopedic knowledge dumps that knew every single thing? There was no supposition. He just knows every fact in the universe. There's one time where, like, a firefighter goes to him and it's like, there's a fire, Johnny, what do we do? And he, like, explains firefighting to him.
But you see how, like, that runner isn't, yes, it's the same joke, but it's not repetitive in the sense that it's the same thing. It's like a rich soil for you to iterate constantly on. Like, I don't get sick of it.
Yes.
Because, like, within this runner, there's two, basically. Because, like, obviously he has to go, the act of going to the Shoe Shine guy is a plot runner. And then, as we said, the specialist needing insight from the guy right after is also part of the runner.
There's also another double runner character is the doctor at the lab. The boys at the lab. They always need to go to the boys at the lab to get some crime lab stuff done. And the doctor is always... the scene begins, the doctor is in the lab, Frank Drebin has not arrived yet, and he's talking to a child, giving them some sort of science education. Generally, one of two things is happening. Either he is explaining some science concept to the child, and the experiment that is about to take place is going to put another police scientist in grievous bodily harm as the test subject, or the doctor is explaining the scientific process to the child, and the example he's giving them is some way in which their mother is sexually irresistible to him.
Like the dew on your mother's skin when she gets out of the shower. Like, just shit like that.
That's like surface tension.
Did Airplane come before this or after this? This is very much the pilot in Airplane who's just like, hey, have you ever been in a Turkish prison, kid? Just like... he's just not talking to kids correctly. And
yes, Airplane came before, 2 years before. Wow. I guess that must be how they got a show, because Airplane's fucking funny. It is exactly the same thing, and in the exact same way, it is delivered totally straight. He is acting like any TV police scientist would. Why don't you run along? He always, right before he does the experiment that's going to cause grievous bodily harm to the test subject, Frank Drebin walks in. He tells the child to run along. And then the second runner in the scene is that he always asks Frank to come into the lab with me. And he walks through the door to go into the other room. And Frank always just walks past the set because it's a set, like the
It's
wall
just a
with the door in it.
You can just go. You don't have to go through it. It's fucking
It's just
stupid.
a set. And every single time, it's never not funny. Oh my fucking God.
And like, it's not like, oh, we did this and it's funny, wink, wink. It's like they are having a funny dialogue as they do this. Do you understand? There are layers happening. It's not slow. It's a shotgun.
It's why it's so good, but I see, especially with old TVs, why this would not be appreciated how it should be. Because yeah, if you look at this and you think this is just a normal cop show, I'm sick of these, which you would, because they really try very hard to make it exactly like a normal cop show, except for the jokes. Plus, like, if you're watching in 1982, you got like a tube TV that's like 12 inches and has terrible picture quality. You probably have like bunny ear antennas, so it's probably like fuzzy. So like you might not even like fully, like you might see him go around the set and not sort of clock what happened because you're watching it on like an old dinosaur TV.
Yeah, it's a living. I can actually revisit the intro sequence because I forgot another runner. There's another runner in there, and it's when they say the title of the episode, what is said in the voiceover and what appears on the screen is just different. Like, the guy is not saying the right thing. They do it every time. I know this
it's not a
basically
misreading either. It's completely different.
This is basically just the Rocky and Bullwinkle joke, I understand, but god damn it, man.
This is just the smartest shit on earth. These you fill your episodes with like half the runtime is just these modular runner bits that you can just slot in like Legos.
He's got to go to the shoe shine. He's got to go to the lab.
He's got to, they got to do a freeze frame. He's got to take his car and stop it somewhere. And every time he does, he runs into something because he can't drive right. They always have to have the scene of him doing voiceover about what he was doing when he first heard about the case. And it's always some ridiculous shit.
Yeah, the first episode is like, I got a call. There was a incident of hot, naked supermodels passing out in laundromats. I was doing my laundry.
Yes. Another one is like, I was getting my car washed when I got the call, and he's like driving, and there's like guys inside of his car spritzing all the windows and rubbing it as he's driving. And it's so good. And as someone who has done amateur comedy stuff, you see this, and again, it's just like, this is like heaven. This is like what all comedy writers want to do.
It looks effortless. It's not, but they make it seem like it's just do it.
It's not effortless, but it sets you up for success. The way I put it was, it is much, much harder to go from no jokes to one joke than it is to go from one joke to 6 variations of that joke. Because once you have one joke that works, you understand, okay, I see what this is doing, and yes, this is dynamite. Then it's like, all right, now the doors to the playground are open. Go in and have fun. You don't have to build a new playground.
Can I use another analogy? One joke gets you on the sphere grid, and that's where you iterate.
Yes. In the first sphere. Fuck. The first joke is you learn magic, and then now I can grind more effectively. I cannot believe that in Dragon Quest VII, it's like fully 25 hours until you unlock classes. I know that's neither here nor there, but
it's a crime. It's always good to acknowledge attacks on humanity.
They released that game. They were like, it's done. It's
That's
ready
the Mosaic
to go.
one, right?
Yeah.
I played that on PS1 for like 20 hours, dude. And I did not get to classes, and then my memory card fucking died. So I was like, I am not doing that shit again.
It's unthinkable. Anyway.
The other thing I want to really talk about here, and it's not like a lost art because it still happens, but it's always refreshing when someone like leans into it completely. When Hundreds of Beavers did this, obviously this show does this, which is visual gags. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, if you like visual gags, then you should just watch this show. You should watch this show with the sound off. I bet you would actually be surprised at how much this shit hits.
Yes.
with no audio. But the words are very clear to be clear. It's very funny.
And that helps a lot with the sort of tone where, again, they play it totally straight. Because a visual gag, no one has to say it in a funny voice. No one has to like look at the screen and wink.
That's
and be
so
like,
important.
And the punchline. For example, this is probably one of the best jokes that has ever been done. Anytime anyone talks about Police Squad, they rightly cite this as one of the best jokes. At one point, a character says to another, "Come join me in the Japanese garden," so that they can have a private conversation. And they go outside to like a veranda, which is where the Japanese garden is. And Joe, what do we see? Again, as they continue their conversation totally serious.
There's just like Japanese people growing out of pots. Like you got a businessman, a Japanese kid, like a mom.
You got, this is the thing. This is what I can't believe. Because this is something that a dumber reactionary would be like, you can't say this today because it's woke. Except it is woke. They like show the
It's not like stereotypes. It's just
it's not
people.
sushi chefs and samurais. It's like the breadth of society, all who happen to be Japanese.
Yeah. It's so fucking funny. I told Tom about that. I was like, this is going to happen, and I'm going to ruin it for you, but I need to tell you about the Japanese garden joke. We, this past weekend, went to see the cherry blossoms bloom at Jackson Park, which is by Chicago's Museum of Science and Industry. And additionally, there's like a Japanese garden, like a peace garden that I think was like a gift from Japan in the 30s. It's very nice. But, dude, all I could think about was the scene. It's just them. Man.
Join me in the Japanese garden. They're just standing there. They don't react. They're just busy growing. Holy fucking shit. And there's something that happens when you watch Police Squad that other shows don't do. And if they do, it's not at the level and sustained pitch that Police Squad achieves, which is you are just constantly in this like state of like, I don't want to say anger because that's negative coded, but it's sort of like a tense anger. How do I explain this? Let me give you an example. There's one point where they have caught the perp, and they have a tight shot of Frank Drebin, his boss, and the perp, and he says, like, now let's get the black and white to take him away. Black and white, of course, is a term for a police car. Let's get the black and white to take him away. That's when you notice, in this order, 1, black and white, while it is a term that I understand, is a linguistically vague phrase that could mean any number of things. You then realize this is a very tight shot. They're going to zoom out and something will enter the frame. You then realize the third thing. Oh, that thing's not going to be a fucking police car, is it? It's going to be some other fucking thing. 4, oh my God, what is it going to be? This is that tense anger, which is like, just fucking tell me. And then it zooms out, and, what you see is a zebra with a little police siren on its back. It's going to take the perp back. That's the black and white, get it? And you go, ah! You're constantly in this state.
They still will sneak up on you. I think the one that like still sneaks up on me is first episode. The shot is like you're as if you're on the desk looking up at Frank, and he's like pushing the button on the desk intercom to talk to the administration. And then he's like, "Can you do whatever?" He just gives instructions, and then the shot turns and he's not pressing intercom. He's looking down at a tiny, tiny man who's a cop and says, "Sure thing," and he walks away.
Yeah. And especially because he was just talking to the running gag comedy tall policeman who's always so tall that his face is out of frame. So he just finished looking up and talking to that.
Yeah, there's one point where he just like a half-eaten banana falls off the top of the screen because he's like chewing up there, right?
Yes. It's so fucking good. Joe, there was another way you described the tense fury feeling of just like, oh my God, like I'm in that sort of limbo where like something fucked's gonna happen. What is it gonna be? How did you describe that?
It's when you identify you are hooked into a joke, but like you don't know what it's going to be yet, Police Squad style. It's the thing I compare it to is like when you're playing with like a kid and you like pretend to drop them and you're like, oh, I got you. Oh, I got you. The drop is what the fuck is the black and white.
Yes. That is, when Joe said that to me initially, I could not believe how apropos it is. Because, again, especially with how often it happens, like that feeling of like free fall, even though you know you're safe, because daddy won't drop you, you know you're safe. But like for each like 22-minute episode, you spend like 15 minutes of that in that free fall state. So at the end, you like feel like you've been fucking through it. Because it's just like, oh my God, another one. Monster took him to daddy heaven. What the fuck?
Yeah. If a movie is very funny, like I'm just laughing the whole time, especially if I see it in the theater, like when I'm leaving, I actually don't like remember anything. It's just like I remember laughing, and that's kind of it. I don't really have any specifics that are coming to mind. It's just I was fucking laughing the whole time. I get that with Police Squad, where it's 22 minutes of an episode, and yeah, I have favorite gags, but dude, I will not remember everything.
It is too much. Like, the pace is relentless. Here are some ones that I remember. One, this is straight from Airplane and all of these guys' spoof movies, and rightly so, because it's fucking good as hell. Every time a character is offered something, the way that is done is the thing that is being offered is held in front of their face, and the name of what that thing is said as a full sentence with a question mark at the end.
Cigarette? Coffee?
Every single time, the person being offered them says, yes, it is.
Yeah, just like you were holding cigarettes up to someone so they could identify them. Yeah.
A cigarette? Yeah. You got it. I love this shit so good. There was a quote that I saw from the great Mark Twain a while ago that I had to run down the full source of because it is so relevant to Police Squad, and
it digs at British people, right? Like it makes fun of them.
Yes, it talks shit on British comedy, which is very good, and it's so true. And so I have the exact actual text in front of me now. This is from a essay called "How to Tell a Story" by Mark Twain. I'm going to give you sort of a cut down version. Only the more relevant parts. There are several types of stories, but only one difficult kind, the humorous. I will talk mainly about that one. The humorous story is American. The comic story is English. The humorous story depends for its effect upon the manner of the telling. The comic story upon the matter. The humorous story may be spun out to great length and may wander around as much as it pleases and arrive nowhere in particular, but the comic story must be brief and end with a point. The humorous story bubbles gently along, the others burst. The humorous story is told gravely. The teller does his best to conceal the fact that he even dimly suspects that there is anything funny about it. But the teller of the comic story, again the British story, tells you beforehand that it is one of the funniest things he has ever heard, then tells it with eager delight, and is the first person to laugh when he gets through. And sometimes, if he has had good success, he is so glad and happy that he will repeat the nub of it and glance around from face to face, collecting applause, and then repeat it again. It is a pathetic thing to see. Very often, of course, the rambling or disjointed humorous story finishes with a nub, point, snapper, or whatever you like to call it. Then the listener must be alert, for in many cases the teller will divert attention from that nub by dropping it in a carefully casual and indifferent way, with the pretense that he does not know it is a nub. The teller of the comic story does not slur the nub. You love that.
Absolutely not okay.
He does not slur the nub. When he prints it, he italicizes it, putting in some whooping exclamation points after it, and sometimes explains it in a parenthesis, all of which is very depressing and makes one want to renounce joking and lead a better life. He's talking about Police Squad.
Renounce joking. Yeah, yes. There is no nub repeating in Police Squad. In terms of just like pure execution, the thing about the visual gag element, and we said this, I think, with 100 Beavers, is the way it lets you layer things, by which I mean you could have a joke that is visual when they're walking through, say, actually, a new example. I was going to use the lab and the scientist, but here's another one. They often have to talk to each other in an elevator, right? They have to speak to each other in an elevator. Frank and his his lieutenant, I don't know, his other guy.
Yeah. He calls him his boss, but he kind of stands next to Frank and repeats stuff back to him.
Correct. And
like a cop show.
Yeah. And the elevator scenes specifically are like, we are now going to say the nitty-gritty bullet points of like the case. Of course, that's not a very funny thing typically. So there's just, at the same time, you're getting the basic plot, which, although it's not hard to understand, it still needs to be like fed to you. The elevator scene is like crazy. It'll be like them talking, yeah, this is the case, blah, blah, blah. And then a woman in a bathing suit gets on the elevator. It goes down 2 floors, and it is at the edge of a diving board, and she jumps off, and water splashes into the elevator, and they continue talking. They, of course, do not respond to it. I think the best
of course.
No sell is one of the stops is like the end of an opera, and the singer is getting all these roses thrown at her, and his boss gets hit with like 100 roses, and he just continues like just being him. It's wonderful.
There's one where the guy who gets on the elevator with them is like a cowboy, and when he gets to his floor is a in progress cowboys versus Indians battle on horseback, and a flaming arrow comes into the elevator and hits the side of it like inches from Frank's boss's head, and it's stuck in the fucking wall, still on fire. And again, he does not blink, he does not flinch, he continues delivering this absolutely dry, not funny at all fucking cop show dialogue, as though he was on the normalest show in the world. Now, people might read into that Mark Twain quote, be like, didn't you just say there are runners, and then they repeat the nub? Yeah, they repeat the nub in the next episode, doesn't count. That's a different kind of repeating the nub. The fact remains, when the nub comes up, it is always sort of in the background. It is never the thing that the characters and the plot focuses on. The characters and the plot and the dialogue are always telling you, like, this is a normal police investigation.
Even when there's a by the books term, like I think there's either the first or second episode, there's a shootout, and Frank's boss is like, cover me. And he just puts his coat over him, and he's just like,
you're covered.
He's covered in coat, and he's just like walking around, bumping into stuff as there's a firefight happening. And then I think what happens is when the bad guy goes to make their escape, they just like trip on the coat man.
Yes.
And they get it. But it's how do I say this? This is the most sincere falling down I've ever seen. It's so wonderful.
It is exactly how someone who is totally covered with the coat would move, which is to say there's no indication that he knows where he's going. Like it's very realistic. He's just like, I'm like, all right, I'm covered. Now time to go. And he fucking trips and falls instantly. It's so good. And like he doesn't say, "Oh, chief, you tripped and fell because you couldn't see." How ridiculous. Frank is like still shooting his gun. There's another shootout where he and the fucking criminal who is shooting back, get shot, reverse shot, reverse shot.
They're doing the Gears of War cover shooting.
Yes, and then we do the wide shot, and of course they're on opposite sides of the same tiny little thing. They're like 1 foot away from each other. Incredible. So fucking good. And then we're already off to the next thing.
And even when, like, from a contemporary sort of perspective, like a joke is not super innovative, chances are it still goes a little further, and I'm impressed. Case in point, the scene Tom just said. There's this Gears of War shootout between the perp and Frank, and they're like inches from each other. And then she runs out of ammo. And so she throws her gun, which is like, we know this joke. Like, this is the Venture Brothers. We have more bullets, go get it. She throws her gun, and then he throws his gun, and then she starts throwing tons of guns, dude. She's got so many guns. Then it's just like a gun snowball fight.
Oh, this one also, this is not really connected to everything, but this is another joke that I got to call out because I couldn't believe how good it was, and also it was a huge example of that fucking, like, I'm so mad at what I know I'm gonna see, which was they went to a suspect's girlfriend, and she works as like a cabaret girl, and she's in the dressing room like in her costume after having done her act. And there's another fucking joke going on through this entire scene where the manager comes in and is like, "Who are you?" "I'm a policeman." "Policeman? We can make that work," and like gets the slutty police outfit out. Anyway, but that's not the thing. They're talking to this woman, and again, the dialogue is completely by the books cop show stuff. Like, where was, like, Bugsy Mangione when he did this? "Oh, Bugsy, I haven't seen him in a while, you know, but really? I thought, nothing. It's just fucking filler words." She says at some point, "Do you mind if I change?" And again, it's like, oh, change. I know what she means by change, but linguistically, that's a very vague word with a lot of different meanings. She goes behind the little partition, and a different fucking woman comes out. Just like, oh, fuck, like, god damn it. Fuck. I think the reason I get mad is because it wasn't me.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And because there are so many little jokes, you get that feeling because you're like, oh, I wish I could have thought of that little thing, that little touch. I'm not saying, oh, I could have wrote Slumdog Millionaire. I'm saying like, oh, I could. I would love a chance to iterate on 100 elevator scenes. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't think that I would have been, if I was transported back in time from today to 1982 and I got in the writer's room of Police Squad, I don't think I would be getting writing credits. I don't think that I would be, like, able to parlay that into, like, a legendary career as a comedy writer, like many of the writers did. But, like, I feel like I would get one joke on there, and that would be enough. Just because of there's so many. There's, like, 100 jokes per episode. The numbers favor me. One of them's going to get in.
I would at least do as good of a job as my other jobs.
Yes. Which is to say I'd be laid off, but only after a couple of years.
Which is fine, because, again, the show lasted 6 episodes. Years is not the right quantity.
God, 6 episodes. I think the one time that it wasn't great was the episode where, for cover, Frank had to be a like stand-up comic / MC at like a nightclub, and the stand-up set that he did that's dated, because like the joke is supposed to be Frank is like an all-time, like this button down, completely stoic police guy who's undercover as a comedy like nightclub host, is great at it and is like one of the best there ever was, like the next Dean Martin. But like his jokes are very old. That's the one time. Oh, speaking of not being dated, that was something that we talked about. I don't want to let this pass by, especially, you know, now that more than ever, because of the internet and because of stuff being on streaming. If you are a comedy head, you have an access to such a wide range of comedy from so many different comics with so many different sensibilities from, you know, for decades of time. Back then, you had your comedy movies, you had TV shows, you had record albums that you had to fucking buy from the store. That was how you heard comedy that wasn't on TV or the movies or live. Or you could go to a live stand-up show, and if you didn't live near a city, well, then you can't. Now, we can see so much comedy. We like to think that we are more sophisticated in our comedic sensibilities as a result. We see like Tim Robinson's like, oh, this is so like innovative and forward thinking. You have to be a real comedy head to fully get this. Normies don't understand Corncob TV. They don't understand Bozo Dubbed Over. But what I'm saying is that it feels like, as a comedy person in 2025, that like we are more evolved and have a sharper sense in general than there used to be. Like, you go back and you watch Who's on First. You must admit that it is a classic and very innovative, but it feels old. It feels like vaudeville guys doing patter on stage. It feels old-fashioned. Police Squad, no.
Tom and I actually went back and forth about this, about whether, like, the average median sort of pop culture savviness when this debuted in 82 compared to now was the reason it didn't take off. Said another way, like, were people just not ready for it? Because I was making the point that, like, even, like, your average slop consumer today might have a wider breadth of media knowledge and sort of just understanding than maybe someone in the 80s. And you were actually like, it does not matter. You were like, there's nothing to... What the show is doing requires so little that the pop culture savviness is a non-issue, was your point. Am I correct?
Yes. It is just like pure fundamentals honed to a razor's edge. And then, of course, the key is it is absolutely relentless. And like that fast pacing, again, I think that might be a reason why it didn't catch on as a TV show, but really did as a movie, because The Naked Gun is just Police Squad but longer and without runners, which is just, and with fucking OJ. The relentlessness, I think, may have been a mark against it, because I've seen old sitcoms from the 80s. They were not doing it that fast. They were telling comic stories, to go back to Mark Twain's quote, like to fucking, whoa, what am I fucking talking about?
Laugh tracks, man.
Case in point, yes. There's no laugh track in Police Squad. Because
so that's kind of modern, right? Like that is a very modern choice, because it would ruin everything. Because you can't have these fucking stupid... Look, I'm trying to tell jokes here. I can't have people laughing and clapping afterwards.
Yes! Dude, you say that like that's a joke, but like it's real. Like, I don't have time for your little gums to go ha ha. I have important fucking work to do, such as I need in this interrogation scene where the dialogue is completely flat and no one is cracking a smile or delivering a laugh line. I need there to be the Eiffel Tower in the window. That's very important. Again, what TV in standard definition, tube TV from 1982, is going to be clear enough that the normal person watching while they're making dinner is going to notice that the Eiffel Tower's in the fucking window? That is so goddamn noble. We've talked about this so much that, like, the most important thing is to, like, stick to your artistic guns and, like, what it means to make your voice heard, even if it doesn't go with, like, what is, commercially best practice. That's so noble. And that's putting the Eiffel Tower in the background of the police station.
But they won't be able to see it. Well, then we should definitely fucking put it in there then.
Yes. God damn it. It's so much better than the movies. And I love the movies, but like...
My favorite episode, I believe it's the 5th episode. It's the one where Frank has to go undercover as a key salesman, like a key maker.
Oh, yes.
He's like a hardware store that only makes keys.
Yeah, a locksmith.
Yeah, he's a locksmith. Oh, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. The reason I was obsessed with the making part is because there's a scene where he's like trying to like make a key with the machine, and then it like launches up out of his hand into the ceiling, and then he looks up, and there's all these fucking keys stuck in the ceiling because he doesn't know how to do this. Anyway, this has my favorite joke of all time, which is... you know how people like tie a note to a rock and throw it through a window to be intimidating? Well, that happens. And then Frank gets the rock. He goes to the lab and he says, "Can you explain where this came from?" And the answer is, billions of years ago, the Earth was a ball of roiling magma that eventually began to cool.
It formed a hard crust out of a substance we now know as rock.
It's just like, oh man, it's the best. It's so
There was another... Joe, I got it mixed up. I thought you were going to say another thing, but I realized that's from another episode. Because... This isn't a runner. This is just a joke they love to go with, which is jokes about windows.
Oh yes.
Which they're doing a play on a rock. A message was tied to a rock thrown through the window, but this is they hold up a window that's just by its fucking own self, and they said a note was tied to this window that was thrown through the rock garden.
It's fucking just rearrange the things. I know it's more complicated than that, but like, god damn it.
Like it never. I think the reason this is so timeless and feels contemporary even now is because it really does just hit the very simplest types of humor, which is what if they said something, but then what you saw was wrong? And it's like, well, I guess I would fucking laugh like an idiot, wouldn't I? And then they decide, well, okay, that kind of joke is kind of shallow. You know, there's not a lot of insight to it. It's basically just a pun. So the way we're going to make that stand on its own is that you never have a fucking second to catch your breath. You were just being pummeled to shit by them. And it's, again, 15 out of every 22 minutes, you're in that free-fall state of like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's just a rush down. It's a Zerg rush. From the jump, you blitz them. And then it's not so much each individual Zergling matters, it's the fact that there's just all these fuckers.
So good. I really cannot emphasize enough how much you should watch this fucking show. Because again, it's 6 22-minute episodes, and it's just so good. And even if you've seen The Naked Gun, you feel like, I got the gist.
The television format makes it worth the viewing.
It really does. It really does.
One of the reasons Tom landed on Police Squad again is we talked about it before, but the reason he actually watched it is because he was writing some jokes, he was doing some work on his own, and he was just like, man, I hate the amount of table setting that comes with like setting up something, and it's just very frustrating. And I was like, you know what would be a good exercise is watching Police Squad, because there is zero table setting, because they're doing the Zerg rush, which is anti-table setting.
Yes.
And I hopefully you agree.
In fact, the table setting that is present, which is to say the cop plot, is in many ways an obstacle to the humor. They have to like find ways to get your attention away from the cop plot in order to put the jokes in. Any table setting is actively antithetical to the humor, which is why it's so fucking good.
How do I put this? Comedy doesn't have to be like fast. Like I think like funny equals fast is not always true, but in this case, yes. You have to think about this as like a Kangen fight. It's like you have to think about all things. This Police Squad is a guy who has like his jab looks like 20 jabs at once, and he can jab with both arms. Like it's just a barrage.
Do you ever see Ip Man?
No.
Oh, it's great. It's about a guy named Ip Man. It's probably pronounced differently because that's like a Chinese name and not like a superhero name. Like it's a guy. There was really a guy named that, and his thing is that he practiced Wing Chun, which is like that martial arts style where like my thing is that I will hit you with 100 jabs in 1 second, and you will be rendered a bowl of oatmeal because of the jiggling inside of your internal organs or whatnot. And obviously, like the movie really exaggerates the usefulness of Wing Chun as a martial art, but when he does his like big action scenes where he showcases the incredible power thereof, it looks fucking badass as hell because Donnie Yen, who plays Ip Man, is fucking fast as hell. So when he does a bajillion jabs, and each of the jabs has the martial arts punch sound play, so it's like he's really going that fast. It looks cool. So that's Police Squad.
The Raid has some of that too, when like he like unloads on a guy like in like short range and just like punches him 100 times. There's some of that in The Raid.
The best part of The Raid is when he kicks a guy over the railing of the big central staircase, and you think he's going to go, and splat against the floor.
It's crunch.
Yeah, he just hits the opposite railing, like 2 floors down, and his back just snaps completely the wrong way, and he doesn't react at all because he's instantly killed.
Yeah, that movie's just people dying, but that was the only kill in the movie where I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah, it's just like, oh. All the other ones are very dramatized and like heightened.
That was physics.
Yeah, that was just like, oh yeah, no, he would just sort of not move at all after that, would he? Huh. Anyway, we're talking about Police Squad. Police Squad's good. You should watch it. It really is a lot of fun. If you like us, you should like this.
Yeah. If you liked what we said about 100 Beavers and you watched 100 Beavers as a result, I feel like there's some commonality here, especially with the visual gags.
100%. 100%. I mean, Hundreds of Beavers, famously a silent movie. You were just saying you could watch Police Squad with the sound off. Same fucking thing. And what was our big criticism and caveat with Hundreds of Beavers, which is like, well, the pacing's a little funny. You have to get through the slow part before it really starts cooking. But don't worry, it does start cooking. Not so with Police Squad. The pace is like every, and this is going to sound bad, but it's not. Any given minute of any episode of Police Squad could be watched by itself, and they would all be as good and have as many jokes.
You just watch all the types of scenes at once. It's like, these are all the ones before they confront the perk. These are all the ones where they are in the lab.
That actually would be a fun editing challenge. Not challenge, because it wouldn't be hard, but like a fun editing project for any film or video editors out there. Do that. Just like split the 6 episodes
by runners.
Yes. So like the first episode of Police Squad is just like the first 6th of all of them, and I wonder if that would be good. This isn't really relevant to anything like thematically or ideologically. It's just a great joke that I think we need to talk about because, God damn it, when we saw it, we had to send a screenshot to Josh Worst World, our homie, who loves immersive sims, because so there in the first episode there were gunshots, and the sort of the thing that they're investigating is the angle of the gunshot wounds that killed the victims, and like where, based on the angle of the wounds, where must the gun have been? And the way they're testing out what type of wounds certain gun locations make is they just have police guys stand there. They put the gun in a certain place, and then they shoot and kill them. And then to try a different position, they just have another police guy stand there. They move the gun, and then they shoot and kill him. And then later, Frank is on the phone telling the findings to someone. And there is a classic immersive sim pile of bodies in the corner right behind him.
Yeah, well, you could tell he just knocked out every guard, and now he's got to check out the phone. It's such a video game shot.
And this is before there even was video games, at least in the way that matters. Holy shit. Great show. Can't recommend it enough. Especially in this dark time where popes are being killed by the bad vibes of our awful leaders.
Just hanging out with him was enough to do it. And he just beat death, right? Like, Dracula sent death after the Pope, and he shrugged it off once.
And he had just said an incredible... He had come out as officially pro-loser.
Thank God, finally.
Yes. I mean, we have gone through it. We've been through the ringer. Seems like these days, the humble Chicago loser has no one in their corner. It was so good to have the Pope.
And what happened when he reached out to us? He died immediately.
Yeah. It's a shame. Anyway, Joe, do you have anything left to say about Police Squad, or are we done? Is the episode over?
Episode's over, I think. You just gotta fucking watch it.
It's so good. I don't know where it is. People ask me when I talk about shows, what service is it on? And my answer is always, like, stealing. Like, download it. It's torrent. They're all on the torrents. You can just download it. If you don't know how to torrent, it's easy to learn. And to be clear, anyone listening, only torrent open
Linux
source
distros.
Textbooks. Yes. Or stuff you already own physical copies of. Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Try to prove me wrong. You can't. Anyway, that's all the time we have for Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
I've been Joe, an Anime Sicko.
Imagine we freeze framed, but like our cats are still moving and they start like thinking that we're dead and eating us for food.
Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Tom Harrison. Joe was also a sicko. You can follow him on Blue Sky at Sharia Uncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Blue Sky at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. You can give us money at patreon.com/Anime Sickos if you want. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.